Okay. All right. Well, let's find a nice seat. And just find your best seat. And please close your eyes. And just drink in a few long, slow, deep breaths. Think of a few things that have been really good that have happened to you this week. Maybe anything you can appreciate, anything you're grateful for this morning. And we take the time to appreciate all that we have, develop this attitude of gratitude. Changes our whole outlook. Please bring hands to heart center. And when we have a better attitude of gratitude, we're sure better able to notice that there's always grace and beauty surrounding us. I'd like to dedicate this practice today to my brother Rod, who's facing heart surgery soon. Please lower your hands, open your eyes. Just stretch up, see how we feel. Maybe bend your elbows, grab your elbows, frame your head, and then just kind of arc to the right and to the left a little bit, opening up your side body. Good. And then stretch up again. Touch your right arm a little higher. Touch your left arm a little higher. And then bring your hands down. If you're on a blanket, slide off and just bring the soles of your feet together. This is just going to be really brief movement here. So feel that. And then stretch your legs long. Upavista. Just a little stretch here. You can move side to side a little bit. Feel a stretch in the thighs. And then bring your feet together. Bend your knees. And come on up to boat pose. Lift your heart. And then come on back down. As you come down, try to bring the soles of your feet together. Come to Baddha Konasana again. And then stretching the legs long. Upavista Konasana. Don't go too deep, just kind of feel a good stretch. And then bringing the feet together, bending the knees, lifting to boat pose. Remember, you don't have to straighten your legs all the way. You do have to lift your heart, lengthen your spine, stretch up. And then one more time, bring the soles of the feet together. Warm up a little bit. And then Upavista. Starting to feel a little more open for me anyway. Good. Bring the feet together. Lift to boat pose. Good. And then bring one shin in front of the other. Sit crisscross applesauce. Get super tall. And just twist to your right. And then to your left. And coming back to center, switch shins in front. And do that again. Twist to your right. And twist to your left. And please move into all fours position. And take your time spreading the weight on your hands, having the knees right under your hips, and then move through some cow and cat. And a little gratitude to your spine, which is becoming more and more apparent in these two stretches. You can move with your breath, you can move slow, but do just notice, keep your mind on those vertebrae, lengthening and then bending your spine. And then pause with a flat back and just extend your right leg. Maybe flex and point your foot a few times, roll the ankle around, keep the hips square to the floor. Feel like you're lifting right in the meat of your hamstrings. Notice your core to make sure the rib cage is stable. So the lower ribs move back, and then add the left arm. And bring the left hand down, the right knee down, and we'll switch now. So extend the left leg. Notice your core, holding it. Move the foot around, flex and point, whatever feels good to warm up your ankle. Add the right arm if you want. If you feel stable, keep a nice long spine. Think of long back of neck, so you're lengthening through the top of your head. And then bring your hand down and your knee down. You can move your knees wider if that feels good to you. Bring big toes together and sit back to child's pose. Just relax. In child's pose, be thankful for child's pose, right? We're all grateful for this position. Take 2 more breaths. And then just staying in your position, stretch your arms out long in front of you. And feel all parts of your hand connecting to the floor, and then just lift the palms up so your fingertips are down. Shoulders on the back. And then again, walk your fingers off to the right to stretch the left side body. And switch. Walk them to the left, stretch the right side body. And walking them back to center. place the palms down, come up to all fours again. I wanted to try something. So just to make a little kickstand, I'm going to have you just swivel your right foot off to the right a little bit, not a lot. Your knee stays the same, and then extend your left leg. You might have the hip a little higher than the right hip. Engage your core and extend the left arm. So it's left leg and left arm. A little bit more of a challenge. If this feels stable and you want even more challenge, you can bend the knee, reach back with the left hand, find the foot, and kick back a little bit. Ooh. Good job, you guys. And release. And we'll switch sides. So now you have to have a little kickstand. So move the left foot off to the left, extend the right leg, engage the core, right arm. And if you liked the challenge, you can reach back, find the foot, kick back. This will warm you up fast. Good, and release. And sit back to child's pose again. Couple breaths. Challenges core, challenges legs, everything you want. And then please make your way up. And just grab your blocks. Bring them under your hands. Yeah. And have them about shoulder width apart, maybe a little further. And then just come up to downward facing dog. Now, if you don't like the blocks, you don't have to use them. You can just get them out of the way and come on your hands. But then just kind of feel it out. Sometimes it's a little easier to start that way. And then just walk your dog a little bit, bend one knee and the other. See how everything's feeling today. And then one hand at a time, walk your hands back to your feet. You can use the blocks with you if you want. Come to a forward fold. Just really notice all parts of your feet connected. So little toe mound, big toe mound, inside of heel, outside of heel. Maybe try and lift the arches a bit. You can keep the knees bent if that's better for you. Wow, you guys are open already. Good. And then bending your knees, bringing your hands on your knees. Slowly roll on up and come to standing and stretch your arms up again. Bending the elbows, arc to your right, and back through center, and arc to your left. And come on back to center. Stretch your arms up and bring your hands down. Good. I'm going to challenge your balance a little bit this morning just for fun. Lisa's going, no. So stand on your right foot and just lift your left heel to start. And then just think, okay, I want to keep everything square and engaged in the core. And then lift your left knee. Just see how feeling your arms can be used to help you balance. And release it. Good job. Switch to the other side. Feel everything stacked. Lift your heel, lift the knee. I'm on the airplane already with my arms. Woohoo! Good, and release. Now back to the first side. So lift the heel, find your balance, lift the knee. And then bring your left hand to the outside of your knee and kind of press your hand into your knee and resist. Ooh. Feel that hip crease move so it's in parallel with the other one. Good, and release. So it's kind of a push me, pull you. You're not really moving, it's just isometric, okay? So switch sides. Lift the knee. Press and resist. More breaths. And release. Kind of cool, huh? Kind of stabilizes you. Okay, now let's do it one more time. This time you're going to reach across to the knee, to the inside of the knee. So go ahead and lift your left. Bring the right hand to the knee and see if you can press and resist. Feels different than the same side. And release. Kind of cool. I know it. Switch sides. I know, it keeps your core really engaged. This isn't even a deal. I just dreamt it up this morning. Oh, and release. Good job. And meander on up to the front of your mats now. I'm going to use the blocks for this part of class. You can choose to use them if you want. So inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to the blocks. Next, inhale, step your right foot back to a deep lunge. And just kind of pause there. You can lower the heel and lift it a little bit. Be careful that you're using all parts of that foot, even your arch is lifting. And then notice that with your left hip crease is in line with your right. And then go ahead and lower the back knee. Hug to the midline. You can come upright if you're feeling stable. If you're not feeling stable, hands to the knee. If you're feeling stable, let your arms dangle. Draw your low belly up. Stretch your arms up. Anjane Asana. Good, and then reach down, touch the blocks or the floor. I'm going to have you slide your hips back, so straight back. So your sits bones and your heels are in alignment. Draw the left leg into the socket. A little hamstring stretch. I always start with the foot flexed till I feel really like I'm super good alignment. My left sits bone and my left heel align. And then stretch the toes towards the floor if that feels good for you. Maybe fold a little deeper. Good, and then come on up, bend back into the front knee, lift the back knee, and step back, downward dog. Or if it works for you, you can do plank Cassie. If that works for you. I don't know if you're feeling that strong today. Good. And then everybody else, extend your right leg. Just notice that. And maybe stretch that knee to your chest and step it through to a deep lunge. Good. And if I didn't make it all the way up there, you just kind of lower the back knee and help it. And then lift and lower the heel a few times. Stretch it out. And go ahead and lower the back knee. Hug heel to knee, knee to heel, so your hips stay aligned. Stretch up Anjane if you're feeling stable. One more breath. And with your exhale, touch down. Slide your hips back to straighten the right leg. Left hip is right above the knee. Pull the right leg into the socket. I always have to tell myself a little baby bend in the knee so I don't hyperextend. And then maybe stretch the toes towards the mat. And then bend back into the front knee. Lift the back knee. Step back, down dog. If you will, bring the blocks a little closer together so you have room on the outside of the block. And then extend your left leg. And you're going to step it to the outside of the left block. Good. And then just keep your shoulders and your hips in the same line. Feel that. Lower the back knee. You might have to adjust your foot. I always have to turn my toes out a little bit to make sure my kneecap and toes are pointing the same direction. And maybe you feel a lot of stretch here. If you don't, you can feel free to lower to your elbows. Yeah. We're all tight right there. Your hips are square with your shoulders and in the same plane. Take a few breaths. Lengthening your spine. Maybe even trying to stick your sits bones back a little bit. Okay, now this is something new. Come back up on your hands and you can use the blocks if you want to. You're just going to slide your hips straight back, just like you did before, only your legs kind of out to the side. Draw it into the socket. You'll feel a little bit different stretch. Your right hip and knee and heel are in the same plane. Your left hip, it's a little different. Stretch your toes if that feels good. Lengthen everything out. One more breath. And then bend back into the front knee, hands on the block. Lift the back knee. Step back to down dog or plank, and we'll switch sides. Extend the right leg and step it to the outside of the right block. You can feel that stretch for a moment and then lower the back knee. Make sure every hips and shoulders lined up, lengthening of the spine. If you want to lower to the elbows, you can. I always have to allow my right knee to go off to the side if I'm going deeper, because otherwise it prevents me. Notice left heel, left knee, left sits bone line up. You'll feel more stretch when you do that, but it feels really good and safe. And you just breathe. And then coming back up on your hands, slide your hips straight back to straighten that right leg. Feel the different stretch. Maybe stretch your toes, feel even more. And then bend back into the front knee. Curl the toes, lift the back knee, and step back. Down dog. And then go ahead and lower your knees. And everybody on this side of the room turn towards the middle, and everybody on that side of the room turn towards the middle. So you're still on all fours. And then turn the blocks to the higher height and just set them back by your heels and come up on your knees. Yeah, if that makes sense. I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see more. And then just bring your hands kind of on your hips, but I like to, you have to keep your shoulders kind of on the back. So think long side body, draw the head of the arm bones back, knit your ribs together, low ribs, and then lift your heart. Try not to scoop your tailbone. I just want you to feel this curving. So you lengthen your spine and then slowly lean back, lift your heart. Try not to scoop the tailbone, keep the hip creases kind of back. Your thighs are working. And then maybe you can reach back, find the block with one hand, maybe with the other, or camel pose. Nice. Gorgeous, you guys. And then bring one hand back to your hip, the other back, and lengthen up. And with your toes curled under, just sit back on your heels. Stretch out your quads for a moment. That feel good? You didn't feel pinchy in your low back at all? Okay. So if that felt good and you want to go deeper, you can either use your heels to bring your hands to, because we're going to do it one more time if you hadn't guessed, or you can stretch your feet and find the heels that way. So come on up, whatever. I would start higher, and then you can always go lower if that feels good. So start with hands on hips, kind of low hips. Think long side body, head of the arm bone back, rib cage back, but lift the heart forward. Just go slow so you can really feel. Don't scoop the tailbone. Just think long in the spine and then reach with the hands, see if it's there. And slowly come on back up. Well done, you guys. Now bring the blocks back out in front of you. And everyone extend their right leg to the side. And just make sure your left hip and your left knee are in this, right above each other. And then come up to standing. So turn so your foot's on the mat is what I was after, you guys. So that your foot doesn't slip. Yeah, there you go. And then just kind of feel that. Feel like weight is in all parts of your foot. Bring your right hand down the leg, left arm up. Think long side body, both sides. So you have that nice long spine, and then maybe arc towards your outstretched leg. Yeah, it's deep. Breathe. Good. Come on, back up. You're just going to bring your left hand down to the mat, and you can use a block if you need to. Turn your right toes up and stretch long. And then maybe bring the arm by your ear, palm facing down. Lift your heart a little bit. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? And then come on back in, hands to the blocks. Bring that right knee in. And we'll switch to the other side. Left foot out. Your foot and your knee should be in the same plane as you come up. Just notice that. Your kneecap and toes point the same direction. Try and get weight in all parts of the feet. Left arm down, right arm up. And then just go slow, just like you did with the camel pose. Think long spine, both sides. You keep that as you arc towards your left. Breathe. Don't over effort. Don't have to go as deep as possible. Good. Come on back up and we'll switch. So right hand down, left toes up. Lengthen your spine as you stretch your arm up. And then maybe by your ear, if that feels good, palm down. Yeah, good. Beautiful, you guys. Notice if your left armpit is hollow so that you can really engage the rib cage back, but lift your heart a little bit. That makes sense. Good, and then come on. Back to all fours and turn back towards the front. A lot of messing around. And then just set the blocks off the mat. And come down to your elbows, right where your hands were. And interlace your hands. I don't know if this will feel good or not, Cassie. You just decide. So press your forearms down and your hands down. Curl your toes under and lift up to dolphin pose. So support your shoulders on the front and the back. That's it. And then just walk your dolphin out. Good, now just slide forward to elbow plank. You might have to move your feet back if you're like me, because you want your shoulders slightly behind your elbows. Broaden your clavicles, engage your core, and hold. Pressing hands down, forearms down, lengthening the back of the neck so you're like a plank. Good. And then lower your knees. Slowly lower your thighs. And maybe your low belly, and lift your chest up to Sphinx pose. You can stretch your toes long. Feels more Sphinx-like. And then go ahead and come all the way down. Stretch your hands by your hips. Press your feet down. Think long side body, head of the arm bones back, but whole rib cage back. So low ribs stay together. Don't scoop your tailbone. Lift your head and your shoulders and your arms. If you can find that your hands touch each other, you can interlace. And then maybe even lift your feet and legs. Rib cage back, lengthening the back of the neck. Shalabhasana. And go ahead and lower down. Just stack your hands under your forehead for a moment. A little breath. Appreciate your heart. Appreciate your breath. And come on back up to your elbows. I'm going to interlace my hands. You don't have to. You can just stretch them straight too. And think, okay, I've got the shoulder blades kind of on the back, but I'm going to broaden my clavicles, keep that strong, curl the toes. Lift the belly, lift the thighs, lift the knees, back to plank. Long back of neck. Breathe. And then slowly lift your hips higher, come back to that dolphin pose. Walk your feet in a little bit. And go ahead and lower your knees. And take a child's pose. And then please come on back up. Grab your blocks one more time. Whatever configuration, you have low, medium, high. And then find your way to down dog. Sorry, Cassie. And we're just gonna walk our feet up between the blocks to a forward fold. Few breaths. Feeling all parts of your feet connected. And then slowly roll all the way up to standing. And stretch your arms up. Your next exhale, fold forward again. Hands to the blocks. We step the left foot back to a deep lunge, keeping the right knee bent. Notice your back leg super strong. Now, if you don't feel stable here, so I'm going to have you bring your hands to your front knee, lower your back knee, and come up to that strong crescent warrior pose. If you're feeling stable, you can let your arms dangle. Stretch the arms up. One more breath. And please touch down to the blocks. Now, this is where you might want the blocks higher because you're going to keep the same stance, heels and sits bones lined up, but you're going to slowly lift your hips up and back to straighten your right leg. Parsvottanasana. Keep everything lined up. Maybe fold. You're feeling it. Right hip crease stays back. I always try to hug my feet towards the midline. It deepens the stretch, but it feels good, right? Good. Now come up like a pranam on the blocks and bring your right hand to your hip. Keep everything lined up like this Think long spine, sits bones stay back, and then maybe twist to your right. The left hand stays down. And if it feels like you want to extend your right arm up, twisted triangle pose, Pavrita Trikonasana. Good, and then touch down, bend into the front knee, step forward. And take a moment and forward fold. I have no idea how that went for you guys because I had my back to you, but hopefully well. Let's try the other side. The right foot back, deep lunge. Keep the hip creases lined up. Find stability in your core and in your legs. Hands to the knee to help you come up, crescent warrior. Feel free to lower the back knee. Stretch your arms up. If you want to, and you want to challenge yourself, lean forward a little bit, hands to the hips, straighten the front leg. And then touch down. Keeping the hip creases lined up. Couple breaths. And then come up like a pranam, so your spine is long and flat. Left hand comes to your hip, right hand stays on the block. Don't let the legs change as you twist. So the twist is only in your core. Beautiful. Want to extend your arm. Lift your heart. Lengthen your spine. Good, and touch down. Really nice, you guys. Bend it back into your front knee. Step back. Down dog. And lower your knees so you can move the blocks out of the way. And then just move your hands in front of your shoulders slightly. All parts of the hand touching, especially the finger mounds. And then stretch one leg back and the other back to regular plank. Broaden the clavicles, lower all the way to the mat. Good. Slide your hands back if they were too far forward by your chest. Stretch your toes long. Lengthen your spine, lift to cobra. And lower down. Push back to all fours. Swivel your feet to the side so you can transition to your backs. And then just hug your knees in. Move the knees side to side a little bit. Just kind of massage your low back. Good, and then from there, just bring your knees more, a little bit wider. Lift your feet up with the knees bent towards the ceiling. Bring your elbows to the inside. And if you can grab your ankles or the little toe side of your feet for happy baby pose. So think of the hands as stoppers. So you're going to press your feet up into your hands and your hands just kind of resist. And then you can feel your spine lengthen back out and then just kind of roll side to side, whatever feels good. Happy babies. You can lift and lower the feet towards the center if you want. Kind of play a little bit. Maybe straighten one leg and the other. Good, and then release the feet. So your knees are bent, feet are flat. Just kind of adjust your spine so you can feel a little curve in the low back. And then interlace your hands around your right thigh and stretch that leg a little straighter. Move your big toe in a circle a few times. Somebody else's is cracking too. Maybe extend the left leg. If that feels like you can still keep the spine in that position that you want. And then pause there and see if you can hug your leg a little closer to you without shifting the back at all. So the pelvis stays the same. The back stays with that little curve. And then press into your hands as hard as you can with your leg and resist with your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then back off a little bit. And then see if you can move your hands up a little further on your leg and draw the leg slightly closer without anything changing. Just notice. And then do that again. Press for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back off a little bit. See if that leg, maybe your hands can move up even higher and your leg can come closer. Keep the hip creases in alignment and your low back does not press down. You don't want that. And then press for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might have to move the leg off to the side a little bit. See if there's any more give in those hamstrings. And just notice it. And then bend your knee, hug it, and release that foot to the floor. Interlace behind the left thigh now. Straighten the leg. Move the big toe in a circle. And see about extending the right leg. One side always feels a little different than the other. Okay, appreciate that. Press your thigh into your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back off a little bit. See if it'll come slightly closer. Maybe move the hands up. I like to move my hands up because then I feel like I have more control, but you don't have to. And try it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back off a little bit. See, wow, I made more room. How did that happen? Last time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back off. See, maybe it comes a little closer, maybe even off to the side a little bit. And then bending the knee, just hug that leg in. And stretch the leg out long. And then slide into Shavasana. Just utilize your breath. Like your breath is your tool to help you relax. Every exhale, you can let go any muscle tension. And just start from head to toe and just scan your body, searching out any tension you're feeling. Release it with your exhalation. And relax your jaw. Relax the soles of your feet. Notice how the floor supports you completely, which is attached to the foundations, which is connected to the earth. You continue to relax. I'm just gonna share some words from Marianne Williamson. Life is always brewing more of itself. The universe is infinitely creative and never stops arranging opportunities to love. No matter what happened, even a moment before, the present is always a new beginning. Universal mind rearranges time and space according to our willingness to love. Nothing in the world can stop the creative power of the universe. And to notice your breath, still moving in and out, whether you're focused on it or not, always present. Start to deepen it a little bit. Think of it as an energizing breath now. Moving it down a little deeper into your belly. And then start to move in small ways, wiggling fingers and toes. Gradually drawing your knees in, rolling to your right side. Please push on up to seated. Find a nice seat. Please bring hands to heart center. So very grateful that you guys came and practiced with me this morning. I'm definitely grateful for each of you shining your light here today. Namaste. You guys. Oh, good. Surprising. You never know what.